Hey, my dad took me. My dad took me, man. And when I tried to play baseball like this, because I knew I was going to be one of the Astros, I tried to play baseball, and I hit that single, and I was running to second. Everybody told me to stay at first. I'm running to second. I hit that second base and slide and cut my knee. Blood splashing everywhere. My dad was on the field and lifted me up like this. He was a big guy, just as big as I am today. And he took me off the field. I didn't know my dad was there. And when I would be sick with asthma, my dad would take Vicks VapoRub and put on my chest. And I'd breathe better. My dad. Yeah, that's my dad. I'm a grown man, but you know, I've never told him that I love him, Clyde. Yeah, that's my dad. I don't know, it's a man thing. We don't know how to show feelings like that. And I was going to say tonight, tell my dad that I love him. Before I get up to him, though, the nurse came and said, Mr. Moncrief, you must come back tomorrow. Your father needs his rest. And I promised myself I'd be there early the next morning. And as I took a shower, the telephone began to ring. And it rung. And it rung. And it rung. What you hear in this large room, it's not silence. It's introspection. You left the room, and some of you went to your dad. Some of you went to your mom. Some of you went to that person who was strong all of your life, but even when they were weak, they're still your hero. And it was almost as though the room disappeared. Power of a story. I couldn't tell that story. And you remember Casey said earlier that she had to go to Wyoming. I had to go to Wyoming before I could tell that story. It was too deep and too painful, but what I found out, when you can go to the painful parts in your life and sit through it, you are free. You are free. How many of you know Tommy LaFawn? Can I see your hand? A lot of you know Tommy LaFawn. Tommy LaFawn, for those who don't know, used to be a prosecutor. He's a criminal defense lawyer now. And I tried a lot of cases against Tommy. And Casey was saying, well, Tyrone got this great voice, and he has courtroom presence, and Charlie, I thought I did too. Tried a case against Tommy LaFawn, and in final arguments, I get up there and I'm just blowing the room away. This jury is with me. Skip, I sit down, wait next to my client, and he gives me the thumbs up after that final argument. You know, one of those thumbs up. And I give him the thumbs up too. And Tommy LaFawn comes back in final argument, and he says these words. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't have the voice of Mr. Moncrief. I can't speak like Mr. Moncrief. I don't have the presence of Mr. Moncrief. Matter of fact, folks, I'm so short I can barely look over the podium. And when Tommy said that I can look at so short, Skip, that I can barely look over the podium, I looked at the jury, and he had connected, man. And I turned to my client and said, you know that deal that was on the table? I say this because be yourself, whoever you are. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Look, I'm gonna give you guys some time back. I'm about to wrap it up. I'm gonna talk a little bit about final arguments, a little bit about it. Because I've seen some great lawyers with some horrible cases, and they did some final arguments that twisted things. How many of you know Doug Tinker? Ever heard of Doug Tinker? Doug Tinker was a fabulous lawyer, master storyteller. And Doug was representing a man who had shot another guy in a bar. Doug's client turned to run out of the bar. Doug's client turned to run after the guy he had shot. The guy runs out the bar. Doug's client shoots him in the back before he gets to the door. As he gets to the door, he falls on his face. Doug's client takes his pistol and unloads the pistol in his back, reloads, and unloaded again in his back. And Doug's defense? Self-defense. I laughed too. So you can't get self-defense on those facts. But Doug was a master storyteller. He said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was a little boy, me and my brother would get in the back and we'd throw rocks at each other. And one day, we were throwing rocks at each other, and this big snake grabbed and just pulled up and crawled by the fence. We couldn't get out. Somebody, neighbor, yelled at my mother, and my mother was scared to death of snakes, but she got a shovel, and she ran, and she started to hit that snake, and that snake started to pull back. She hit that snake, and when the snake was dead, my mother continued to hit that snake. We had to pull her off. Mr. Smith, the man who was killed, was a snake. Not guilty. Let me say this too, folks. I'm everywhere I go. I say there's nobody better than criminal defense lawyers when it comes to getting before jurors over there and making an argument. There's nobody. Until I heard about this civil lawyer. And the guy was about 28, 29 years old, just been practicing a little while. And he represented a man who had been cut off, arms cut off, both arms at the elbow. And when the jury went to lunch, the judge was going to have final arguments right after lunch, and the arguments was sort of like this. He said, ladies and gentlemen, when we went to lunch, we saw you in that restaurant over there, and you were all eating your food and having a good time. And I saw you using your utensils. You see, Bob and I went to lunch too. Bob doesn't eat like you though. But Bob eats like a dog. Bob eats like a dog. And you know, I thought these civil lawyers had all this legal mumbo jumbo to go through. He went and sit down. And the jury was out a long time. A long time. And when they finally came out, they found out the jury was out so long. You know why they were out so long? Because they were trying to see how many millions do we get give to a 23-year-old man who would live the rest of his life eating like a dog? That little kid cleaned up, folks. And I started saying, maybe I should have done some civil work. Let me say this, folks. And I know you guys are ready to go, and we're going to go. I've been in some battles with some lawyers in this room. I've watched lawyers in this room, Charlie and Lot, Skip, and Ernie, and Connie, and I would go in and watch their trials because I said if there's one thing I can get, just one thing, it may make a difference in another human being's life. Let me tell you my last story. I was trying a murder case, and it wasn't going very good. We were about to do final arguments, and I was sitting outside the lunchroom, a little cafeteria, and Craig Washington passed by. I know Craig Washington, raise your hand. You know he's a great lawyer. And Craig said, Tyrone, I don't want to interrupt you. I know you're getting ready for trial. You're getting ready for your arguments. I want you to remember this one story. It's about the Alamo. And a couple of hundred men were getting ready for this invading army of over 6,000 men. And somebody said to one of them, "What are you guys doing? You can't win. What are you guys doing? You can't win." And they said it was David Crockett, nobody really knows, who was cleaning his rifle, and he said, "We know it. Yeah, we know it. But we're gonna give him hell. We know it. Yeah, we know it. We're gonna give him hell." When I see you guys, when I see you in court fighting those prosecutors, half times what's the motto for criminal defense lawyers? Always ready, seldom prepared. When you're getting ready, I admire you, man. I admire you. When you walk in and the state of Texas has a jury that has come in and doesn't like you. I admire you when the prosecutor doesn't like you and the judge doesn't like you and the bailiff doesn't like you and nobody likes you, and even your client is filling out grievance form at the desk. And you get up and you fight anyway. You get up and you fight anyway. I admire you guys. And I am so glad the last 30 years of my life, I've stood with men and women, Clyde, you and Skip, men and women who challenged the world. Challenged the world. 3 weeks ago, I spoke at Texas Tech University, law school. And when I got up, I saw nothing but young people. And I had to get up and tell them, y'all are babies, man. I mean, I did. Y'all are babies. But I had to tell them that this country now will be in your hands. And my grandkids will live in America that you must protect. I admire you. I'm so honored to be one of you. I'm so honored to be as frail as all my talents are. I'm so honored to see that you're here now and everybody should be watching the Astros. I'm so honored that you're fighting for people's lives every day. And on Monday morning, when you get ready to go into that courtroom and everybody hates you and the odds are stacked against you, just remember simple words. Give them hell. Thank you very much, folks.